Okay, folks, welcome back. Once again, I'm going to be going over what we're going to be working on today. We're going to be working on this page. We're going to skip ahead in the book just a little bit. We're going to be working on the page. It's Mark chapter 3, measuring with the scale, measuring with a full-size scale, because that's all we're going to do today is measure some lines and then report on what those measurements are. Now, again, I know this is review for some of you, especially if you've taken metals and woods and geometry and so forth, but this is the first time that some folks are using a scale, so I'm going to go through this carefully. Also remember, when you tear this out of the book, if you choose to tear it out, we will be working on the sheet on the other side, so you need to carefully save this. Be careful with the sheet when you're done with it. Maybe put it back inside the folder so that you don't lose track of it. So, just as an example, you see up here at the top of the page, there are examples of what the different scales are and how we're going to be, what the different measurements are and how we're going to be reporting those down here. As a reminder, each tick mark is a 16th inch. Between 0 and 1 is a full inch. Between 10 and 11, you'll see the halfway mark here is marked as a ½ inch, and so on. This little quotation mark, that denotes inch. Whenever you're labeling something by inch, you're going to be using the quotation mark to denote what it is. Now, for our purposes today, I'm going to be using our 0.5 lead pencil because that allows me to write more carefully. I'm going to show you an example. I'm going to measure a couple of lines, and I'm going to do these for you. And I'm not going to label all of them because I want you to do these yourself, but a couple I'm going to demonstrate. Okay. Be sure to read through this. It is a review of what we went over in previous classes. For your purposes today, you will be using a scale that is a 16 scale ruler, 16 tick marks between each inch. You're simply going to be putting the ruler down on the paper. I know this is pretty elementary, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. You're going to put the ruler down on the paper, you're going to measure each line, and you're going to carefully label each line. In this case, starting at 0, going to 5, this is approximately 5 1/2 inch. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of playroom here, because when these sheets were copied, these lines shifted oh so slightly because the printer is not at 100%. But for our purposes today, you can round to half, for example, for this one. So once we measure it, we see that it's 5 1/2 inches. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to write very carefully in my best block handwriting, 5 1/2 inch. Then again, for example, down here on number 8 is, and it's a teeny bit over, but for our purposes for this, it looks like we're at 3 1/16 inch. You see we're at inch number 1, 2, 3 1/16. So I'm going to go over here and write carefully in my best block print handwriting, 3 1/16 inch. Now I'll let you do these others yourself. Down here on the bottom, what you need to do is mark off the line at each of these measurements. So for example, the first one is labeled as 4 3/4 inches. So on the line below, I will lay out the given distance from the line on the left. Here we go. We are at 1, 2, 3, 4 and 3/4 inches. So we know that's a ½ inch. So half of a half is a quarter. So 1, 2, 3/4 inch. I'm going to put a hash mark right there. Now I have labeled the line where it ends at 4 3/4 inches. Same thing down here. For all of these, you're going to do this. This one is going to be 3 5/16. So here we go. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Each of these hash marks is a 16th. 1, 2, 3, 4 16th. 5/16 right there. Make sure your line is nice and dark and easy to read. I like to make a little arrow like I'm denoting something if I was cutting wood or something like that. So I've labeled 4 3/4, 3 5/16, When I've completed all of them, I'm going to carefully write my name and the date down here on the bottom in our class period. When you see the number, that does mean class period. So my name, carefully printed in my best block handwriting. Well, that's not my best, but it's pretty good. The date today is, what is today? Well, it's different for me than it is for you because I'm doing this ahead of time. And I'm in class period number 2. There we go. Once you have completed this whole thing, take a shot of this section of the page down here using a camera, including your label at the bottom, so that I can clearly see your labels and where you've marked these off. Folks, that's all we're doing today. Tomorrow we'll get back to doing either some more ruler work or we'll get onto a protractor. We'll see how this goes first. This is due today. Have a great rest of your day. If you have any questions for me, let me know. You can reach me at eric.bishoff@bethel.k12.or.us or through Remind. Thanks again.